So, watch and complain. Midnight Mass. I remember the moment I knew Midnight Mass like hit its peak for me. I'm watching the first 3 episodes, and I am thinking this is the best thing I have seen in years. Watching Midnight Mass, and it's at the scene where I'll say, like, Jesus, he comes out of the cave, okay, and the episode ends, and it's a nice little surprise, and I remember thinking, oh my gosh, this is so great. How can the story possibly get better from here? And then it dawned on me, it can't. And it doesn't. And it simplifies. But it was nice to have. The main character in it, played by Hamish Linklater, is, like, absolutely fantastic. And there are so many elements.
The priest?
Yes, the main priest.
I agree.
In all of this Haunting of Hill House, Mike Flanagan made Dr. Sleep. He does beginnings like no one else. He does them, like, super fantastic. But it's like Guillermo del Toro, where the worlds that he creates are more amazing than the stories he decides to tell in them. And my overall take on this is just that it sets up for a more it's the opposite of the Marvel effect. It sets up for a more complicated story that it's equipped to tell, and then decides to tell a more straightforward story. And that, to me, is disappointing.
I agree.
But I'm happy for, like, what I saw. There's some good performances in there. It has a lot of really stupid plot logic in it, particularly at the end where I was really annoyed by it. But I still have a nice beginning, and months later, I saw it right as it came out, whereas you guys just saw it recently, right? My thoughts on it several, months removed, I still think about it occasionally. It's still nice. It's still nice. So my overall thoughts are positive, but it's not like...
it's not legendary. It's not...
Yeah, I don't remember if I didn't even rate it on my website, really. Oh, yeah, I gave it a 6.6 out of 10.
All right, Phil, over to you. I went into it thinking, oh, shit, I'm going to be jump scared a lot. So I was worried. I watched, what was it, 1 show, 2 shows maybe. And then I was like, I don't know. And then I decided to come back to it because, of course, we're going to review it. And I really started loving it. There is I think what you're referring to is the son,
Riley.
That is the big issue at the end, or is there something else?
My issue is that, like, the story, at the rate at which I'm going to spoil it, the vampire kills people, is that my first thought is that Riley probably should have died first. And the town drunk shouldn't have died because they're going to kill Riley anyway. His story is pretty short, and you get the sense that it's ending anyway. But, like, as soon as, like, the priest does something sloppy, like, I get that he gives in to urges but kills, like, the hobo or whatever, I'm kind of like, okay, well, this is the kind of show that it is, where accidents happen despite years of careful planning of whatever prophecy. And it's like, okay, this is going to be sloppy and dumb, and it might as well. And it got, like, really sloppy. And then I remember the first time in the series where I checked my watch, I'll say. I checked my phone, and it is during the episode later when Riley is talking to her. He has something to tell her and stuff, or maybe it's before then, but he's in the pregnant girl... who's
in her house.
Yeah. And they start talking about what happens when you die, and I'm like, okay, this is annoying. I like this character or this actress.
This was a Triad award.
Yeah.
When they were sitting on the couch, it was like...
It's a Triad award. I'm like, what's a Triad award?
I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
We want an award for script writing or something, or acting, and this is our scene. No.
She was fine in Hill House, but you know what? She's actually the wife of the director and creator of the show.
I liked her in it.
She doesn't carry it. She's not like, they give her a load-bearing role that she is not up to. Yeah, but that's the problem, is that it doesn't become, from that point onwards, from the high point onwards, it should be, I write somewhere in here, it should be a show about a priest trying to revitalize his, what's it called?
Congregation.
Yes, congregation. It should be about Riley, who's having a crisis of faith. It should be about, you know, it could be about all these big themes of like revitalization of the Catholic Church or reckoning with history, or even these kids who find faith in the places where they least expect it. But it's kind of it kind of divides itself into all these little stories, and it comes about 3 separate stories, and I found as it went on, it broke apart.
Yeah.
Basically, in the stories that I wanted to tell. And I was really annoying that it didn't come together.
Then it became a zombie movie.
Okay, I want to say the stupidest thing that happens in it, and it's not even like a big thing that happens when the vampires and everything, because by that point I'm very forgiving of the whole enterprise. It's when the person comes in to the sheriff and she's like, listen, like, this guy's a fucking terrorist, like, he's gonna murder everybody. We need to stop, like, call Code Red. I don't know, do what you gotta do, because my best friend died in front of me this morning, and I need to tell you this. And then he says, when 9/11 happened, and he gives some big backstory that nobody gives a shit about because...
I give a shit.
No, but it's like they established that it doesn't matter for that character too much, or at least with the, I can't remember, Bev, with Beverly Keane is the only one who cares about, like, his race and stuff. And he's just brushed off the side. And I was thinking that's a good way to deal with it. Of just,
but it
like,
makes sense.
This character brings up... But then for him to, like, give an internalized monologue, my brother said it best of, like, the thing that... the problems that occur with this show and have occurred and followed this creator on everything that he's done is that sometime after the first act, every single character stops talking to each other. Everything becomes monologues, and they all talk on long monologues. And there's nothing where anybody can interject and give actual information that a character or a sane person would in that time that would completely, like, bring down the plot. It basically starts off as a character piece and then becomes a plot piece.
Yeah,
and there's
not
wild
in
inconsistently.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So it's like, it has some, like, just amazing scenes, like Hamish Linklater, like, the way that, like, it's, I hope he gets an Emmy because it's, like, the best performance I've seen on that on that show on TV this year is this guy. But I don't know.
You're wondering why I'm being so quiet?
No, I'm waiting for. I know you're going to start
completely.
You're
I was going to say,
start.
in no one's surprise, I think you're both completely wrong. This show is like a statue that you have a huge lump of rock at the start, and you chip away at it with shit characters like Riley, who as soon as you meet him, you're like, oh, okay, your arc is a redemption arc. Got it. You figure it out in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Then you see Aaron. Aaron's pregnant. Oh, yours is the loss arc. Got it. We know where that's going.
The loss arc?
The loss arc is where you've got to come back from loss from huge loss. So you've got those two right out of the gate. Mm-hmm. Not to mention they're not very good actors.
Oh, so
you're like, okay, but so we're chiseling. Yeah, there's Aaron. Yeah, there's Riley. Bev, she's great. Oh, and then you got
she's playing
the
Marcia
sheriff.
Gay Harden in The Mist.
That's right. Yeah, but you've got these.
She's good.
And then
playing
you get to the outline of what it's going to be, and that's Father Paul. And then as you get farther and farther, you're throwing away. Like you're talking about how it goes into plot direction doesn't need. It gets rid of the shit that's not necessary, and it goes on its sole focus. This show starts as a horror story. It starts as a story about this town is destroying itself.
Yeah.
And it ends as this town destroyed itself.
Yeah.
So it starts with a goal, brushes off all the shit it doesn't need. That's why Riley dies, and thank fuck he dies, because he's useless.
I agree.
And then it is this pinnacle at the end of the movie. It has a poor ending. I will give it that. But it knows exactly where it's going. Father Paul, the Hamish, what's his last name?
Hamish Linklater.
Linklater, that's his last name. He carries the show.
Like a breakout star to me. I've never seen him, so.
And he absolutely gets the tone. That's one thing.
He knows exactly.
That's one thing with these types of shows.
The problem is I don't think any other actor really knows.
Bev gets it. The girl playing Bev gets it.
But because the role is so simple, in my opinion.
But they
well performed.
They got it perfectly. And I thought the death of Joe Colley and the death of Riley were exactly where they should have been, because Joe Colley doesn't matter. It's hacking off that statue. Get rid of him. He's gone. You get rid of these characters you don't need to show this pinnacle statue at the end of it.
Do you think it should have been shorter?
That's a
people
hard.
say it could have been a movie. Really,
It could have been. I just every time Father Paul was on screen, I was fucking mesmerized. He is so good. And I wish, honestly, I know, like you said, the monologues are a problem. I didn't find that. I found
find
the
in the
people
later
giving
series-
monologues, like Aaron and Riley, I don't want to watch them
Aaron's
do a
last
monologue.
monologue when she's lying on the
Goes
ground, and
forever.
I'm like,
Yep.
fucking end the show already.
Yep.
I'm done.
But
How about the
I
part
wish
when they
they
walk
took
out in
that
front of all the
time
vampires?
and gave it to Father Paul, I would have watched it forever.
How about like when they're burning down when they're burning down the whole place, and apparently they're unconcerned with these vampires because they move out the front door in front of everybody, and they're like, without burning it down, I'm gonna burn this place down, and da 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 da. And I'm like, oh, these people
But
are
they're-
too fucking stupid.
They're shedding, like in my opinion, when I was
the-
watching it, they're shedding the shit they don't need.
That
the
happens at the
whole-
last episode.
The whole arc of the movie is
TV show.
TV show. We're destroying ourselves. Right from the opening, they talk about how there was an oil spill and everybody left. So this town is dying. This town is slowly dying. By the end, they are dead. And once that became obvious to me, where that final injection of poison is the vampire coming in and just poisoning the entire town and destroying it, I was like, if you guys leave this fucking one point that you're making, the show is shit. But instead, they just, oh my god, dude, like a fucking, like just perfectly, in my opinion, perfectly. They cut away all the shit they don't need, and then they have the statue of David at the end of it.
What about the parents who, like, the mother still has a son to protect, and then she's like, no, I'm going to stay behind and abandon my son and have a confrontation with the church lady.
Because get rid of her.
But she was doing it for a reason, to give them time.
A
But see,
mother
with
would never leave her son.
But
like
she's
that.
already a vampire. She
She's
doesn't
not a
want-
vampire at that point, no.
The mother of
Yeah, no.
No, she was. Monsignor Preet, remember, he was giving
Yeah.
her blood, so she was
No,
slowly
you're talking
turning
about
green.
the mother of the doctor. I'm talking about, like, Riley's mother.
Riley's
who
mother.
still
I'm
has
sorry.
the little kid who the plot completely
Completely
forgets about until the end.
No,
Along
Ri-
with the girl who can
Riley's
magically
mo-
walk, and they kind of
Riley's mom,
abandon her.
no. Remember,
Riley's
she was
mom
Henry
and
Thomas's wife.
dad. They both got turned into vampires, and she came
The
out.
dad gets turned into a
They
vampire
both
because he
do.
saves them at the church. The mother is still with them. Then they go back to the
No,
doctor's house.
she says that she feels the hunger. She just isn't paying attention to it.
she
Then they
was
hug each
turned.
other. Yeah, she was turned. But again, that came from we're shutting off the shit we don't need. That's what I like. That it wasn't. Let's give them all. Like I love Bev in the very end of it because it perfectly encapsulates the story. Where Bev is like, all right, I'm resigned to die, and she's that one last person that's like, no, I can survive. I can in this muck and shit. I can survive, and she starts digging into the sand.
That's what they should have done in the first place when it started.
But you're missing the point. She's like, I'm going to dig in the sand. I could survive. And then you get killed.
How about the fact that they don't kill the vampire and the main ladies?
that was
Aaron
kind of
doesn't-
stupid. Aaron stabbed. I would feel getting stabbed. But I got that it was like, okay.
It's a useful
wants to get it
thing for
on.
a second season.
for a second. And that's what it felt like. But
Yeah,
oh,
and
he
that-
actually
and that-
survived.
That's why it's so
Ah.
terrible. That's
Yeah.
what makes the show so terrible because it's about
the
revelation.
ending did
it's about
suffer.
the end.
The ending did suffer a bit, but the point of this town, it starts with the end in mind, which is always my favorite type of fucking movie or TV show. When it begins and has its end already in mind, that is a clear indication of an extremely talented writer and director. This is why Vince Gilligan is one of the best guys out there right now. He begins with the end in fucking mind, like Stephen Covey tells us all to do.
This guy
That's
does
what
not
this show
seem
did.
to. No.
No, I absolutely. Now he's stumbled. I will say he stumbled.
But
When he's
here-
got his own stuff,
here's the problem.
He's great.
Vince Gilligan does not make mistakes as big as this. Like this movie or this TV show, which could have been a movie, makes colossal
No,
missteps.
I disagree.
But you said like the fact that you're like, oh, it's shedding. It's
Yeah,
like
you said that it
it's
started
not.
with mistakes.
It's not that. It's yeah.
No, it didn't start. It
but you're
starts
like
with all these
useless
characters, and it gets rid of these useless characters.
that don't belong in the story then in the first place because their ultimate purpose is nil.
But you've got to say, hey, we've got an island full of people, and just like a fucking tree that's
And
dying, these
even though it
leaves
sets
fall
them
off.
up as like you get the crazy hobo who's
Mm-hmm.
like the town drunk and saying all these weird things, why not keep him around to communicate the plot points rather than give it to the guy's wife to like say, oh, what do you think happens when you die? And not have him be like, oh, I've seen it. I've seen that like you have it basically eliminates points of view, which later on the show needs to communicate and like doesn't.
The drunk guy didn't need to be there anymore.
Who, Joe
There was
Colley?
No, yeah,
Yeah.
He was done.
He was, yeah. His
But
purpose was
Riley
served.
could have gone. Riley could have gone first. Is
I didn't like Riley, so
He's
I
completely
didn't like the
extreme.
character at all. But I got that his arc is the redemption arc.
I get that
So I got
he's your
that.
way into the show. But like I knew that his plot was over as like an
Really, as
episode
soon
was-
as you meet him, you know what I mean. You're like, your purpose is fucking done.
Did you find though that his plot even got resolved that well
I think it gets resolved in the overall ideology that
of the
his
show?
whole purpose is to realize his mistake and become at peace with himself. That's why the end when he's in the boat, he sees, oh, the girls all back
But he doesn't
together
even
again.
he doesn't even really seem at peace with himself.
He does. That's why he sees the girl all put back together.
No,
and he
that was a
dies.
separate issue of
Do you-
him
do you
not,
think
not
it-
wanting to be a
what do you
vampire.
think about
I think that's him. That's why at the start of the show, he sees the girl all busted apart, and then he sees her little lights going on. She's never whole, meaning he's never whole. The whole idea is he's never whole.
What do you think about the kids though? The girl who can't walk, and then Riley's brother, who are barely in it at all, and
I think the whole point of the girl who
sheriff's
can't
son.
walk and the sheriff's son, yeah, who's changing. It's a town that is limping along, limping. Sometimes when you're limping along, you might have a score, you might get a bit better. It's like when you're fucking dying. They say near the end of when you have a real sickness, you start to, oh my God, I kind of feel better. I feel great.
See,
and
look at
then you
this.
fucking die.
Ed is turned, which is the father, while Aaron, Hassan, Lisa, Sarah, Warren, and Annie escape.
Keep going.
Aaron shoots Bev before the group flees town. A resurrected Bev
Mm-hmm.
and Sturge annoys undead churchgoers onto the remaining townsfolk. In the final episode,
No, they definitely come together, and they both are
Suffer
turned.
from the hunger.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah.
And
I
she,
did
she
like,
comes
too-
out because it was her being like, I'm a vampire. I don't want to be a vampire. I'll
I
just
did like the fucking eye
myself go out
thing
there.
too, that they did the little kind of shade of their eyes when they were turned. I thought that was really cool. You know, but
yeah, but it
overall,
didn't go anywhere.
But it
It's just like,
doesn't need
The
to
light
go
does
anywhere.
this. Well, why does the light do? How does that help you?
But you're looking, in my opinion, you're looking at this as a Marvel movie. Everything in Marvel has to mean
Has to-
something.
yeah, I got
And
you.
this, all that means something is
But
we
that's-
start in a
that's
dying
the
place
fun.
and we end in a dying
But
place.
the fun part of it is that it means something. You're trying to figure this
It's
out
like
while
all
you're
these
For
fucking-
something that has such a good beginning to me, it has remarkably inefficient storytelling.
No,
you
I
cut out
just
half
started.
those monologues, the show can ditch.
It's
like maybe
it's like
2 episodes.
all these people that want to make something out of it. Stephen King's It.
What do you mean?
There's so many people that, oh my God, the entire time Richie was actually gay for Eddie Kaspbrak. And he
I
never-
mean, that started
that's
with
all
Star
garbage.
Wars and stuff.
But that's all garbage. When you look at the story of It, you know what it's about? It's about facing your fucking fears, and you need to do that your entire life. That entire 1,000-page book, that is the point of it.
Yeah.
Right? And it's also Stephen King's a huge fucking coke addict. The whole point of the book. That should have been the whole point of the fucking movie, is you need to fight your fears your entire life. That's it. That's what this show was. This town is dying. It will die. By the end of it, it's dead. And that's what I liked about it. He knows where he's going in the start, and he arrives
What was
at
the
it at the end.
point of having the sheriff? He does nothing.
I think he was a good character.
Yeah, I thought the sheriff was a good character.
Yeah,
I
but
think
what's
that
his
the
arc?
nine-
And I
What's
the
will
9/11
say
thing-
I enjoyed the monologue.
I enjoyed the monologues a lot, and I think the 9/11 thing is his way of saying, all you fuckers are a little biased against me.
Yeah.
All of you.
And if I do
Okay.
anything,
Not just Bev. All of
if
you.
I lift a finger, it's going to be looked at not just as the sheriff
right.
lifting his finger
But a Muslim.
against people, but as a Muslim coming after white people.
Okay, so he doesn't.
But,
so he
again-
doesn't do that and dies anyway.
A great example.
So that means
this
nothing.
whole place is sick. It's all dying. All you fuckers are racist towards me. None of you like me. Anything I do is wrong. Anything you people interpret that I do is wrong. It's
And
all
not just those
dying.
people, but
He's
like
a terrible
all his life.
sheriff.
Yeah.
He's an awful sheriff.
I thought everybody
Of course he's an awful
contributes.
sheriff. He can't do anything.
Everybody contributes
just
to this
makes him
place.
a stupid
is just
character.
a cesspool of death. And I got that out of the story and I loved it. That was great.
Okay, so bringing it down to the ratings.
For me, absolute. This is the highest thing I think of all the stuff we've done on this podcast. This is the one I like the most. I'd put this as like
This
8
is what I like when he's not into it. He doesn't want to watch it, and then he watches it and he loves
I
it.
loved it.
Like,
Like
it's rare.
It is. It's very rare. For me to sit down and be engrossed in something and then really think about it, yeah, very, very rare, especially with a lot of the shit that's going on nowadays. But no, I loved it. I'd say like 8.5 out of 10 for me.
I'm more like 7.5, maybe 7, but I enjoyed it. I
What do we-
didn't think I would.
I mean, you saw my review. I gave it a 6.5. You can
So I thought
read
you
it on
said 6.6.
filmgamer.com. Yeah, 6.6.
Say that again. Filmgamer.com. Go there.
Or filmgamer.ca. I gave it a.
.net.
Yeah.
.biz.
You know what the
Where he
problem is? The ad
sells
gets in
you.
the way. It's 6.6. Yeah, you're right.
You know
It's-
what? That's one thing too. The poster for this movie looks like a Drew Struzan poster. You're looking at it, you're like, this isn't what I would put as a poster for this.
Yeah. It's
Like,
like,
it's really
it's like a
weird
Mondo
looking.
poster.
Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Stop recording.
Fuck. When did it stop recording? Oh, look at that. Oh, that's the noise. Well, at least that didn't stop recording.